Okay, you know the drill. Let me know if you can see and hear me okay. I just double checked the Wi-Fi. I shared a link to Twitter and the Facebook group about the episode. So we should be good. We should be good. I have not seen the promo yet. I have not seen the in credit promo, but I did not see the trailer. I think somebody sent it to me. Let me double check. And if you're just joining in, please hit the thumbs up button. This was the perfect episode. Okay, I'm watching the trailer now. It's on the Sistas page. Perfect. Twitter is moving a little slow.
Looking for someone who can manage the current next Wednesday. When opportunity.
Whoa.
Williams looking for someone who can manage the current next Wednesday. When opportunities arise. If we play our cards right, that partner will be you. I would love to be considered for the position. So would I. Some will do whatever it takes to be on top. Help me destroy Andy Barnes. Zach will have no choice but to come up off of that child support check. Demand Karen does another DNA test. May the best woman win. Everything okay? No, it's far from it. Tyler Perry's Sisters, on next Wednesday at 9. Watch it.
Wow. Folks, big up to the new writers. This episode was great. I just saw the promo for next week. I'm here for it. See, I watched The Oval this morning, and I gave that a 9 out of 10. If you haven't watched my review, I posted it today and the trailer breakdown. The Oval, great. And I said, you know what? I don't know if Sisters can measure up. I mean, it's a tall hurdle to try to jump over. Oh, great. Audio problems already. Here we go. Yep, it wouldn't be a live stream night without audio issues. But, yeah, good stuff. Let me double check the Wi-Fi. Please bear with me. But yeah, this was a great episode. Yeah, Zach rehearsing if Karen pulls out a gun. That was classic Zach. I can hear you now. Okay, perfect. I don't know. I just checked the internet. I don't know what's happening, but hopefully nothing happens wrong because this was a great episode, people. I have no complaints. Even the moment where I'm like, Zach was actually spitting bars to Fatima, but that's not the issue because even though Zach was making good points, you said get a DNA test. I was trying to do that. You know that Karen's always in a pissed off mood, so I bought the flowers to smooth things over. But when I stepped back and really analyzed what was going on, it sounded like Zach was using what Fatima told him to do as a way to excuse himself of doing too much. So, yeah. I agree the flowers did send the wrong message. I will say this much. Karen being Karen was annoying, but I love the fact that the other characters didn't exactly agree with what she said. This woman is in her feelings because the girls posted about the brunch with Fatima online, even though she was invited but said no. And then she's like, well, I still think I was justified in how I was feeling. Did you notice Andy rolling her eyes? I love that. But you could tell that the girls were trying to just go with the flow because it was Karen's big day. They all got a lot going on and they didn't have time for the foolishness. And I was here for that. But yeah, Karen, well, I don't want Zach here, but then I wanted him here. But then the promo for next week, they talking about getting him all some child support checks. So it seems like Karen is only going to get the DNA test to try to, I guess, potentially expedite child support, but I don't even know how that's going to work because the baby isn't even here yet. Even if he is the father, that baby isn't here. So I don't really know what's going on. A 10 out of 10. Yeah. Zach always sends the wrong message. You're not wrong. Like, trust and believe. I try to defend my guy as much as I can, but even sometimes I got to be like, you know what, Zach? I see what you're doing, but I don't know. Then this low down, dirty dog, Gary, takes pictures of Penelope's credit cards and gets his man Hudson to update her life insurance policy. So now Penelope is probably going to get killed off just so Gary can make a quick buck. I feel like they were going with the flow too. This episode just had great pacing. Man, we had Tamara show up unexpected, looking fine as I don't know what. Then we knew Miss Lisa was coming from the trailer, but I love the fact that Miss Lisa spoke bars. Also, can everybody still hear me, or is anybody having issues? Well, Mr. Leland's description as a character, he was somebody that mentored Andy. So he was probably one of the few people that vouched for Andy. But then after learning about her ways, it was a bad reflection of him. Because go back to season 1 or the first few episodes, Bellamy kept drilling it into Andy's head that, look, you're lucky that the higher ups decided to take a chance on you. And I'm giving you this particular case, so you better not screw it up, because if you screw up, then that's a bad reflection on me. So I think Leland was one of the few people that vouched for Andy when she first got hired. That's why I think he took everything personally about her behavior. It's like, girl, you going to tell the whole truth? Hell no. That was hilarious. Well, we know Karen has type because she's most definitely. When she was checking out Trey, the delivery guy, all I can think about was Zach when he was working at the airport. Something along the same lines was probably happening. Yeah, somebody said earlier, I think it was you, Amanda, you said that you predicted it weeks ago, about Leland. Yeah, and I did a video on it 3 weeks ago too. Tamara, even though I'm glad Tamara came back, I'm curious as to why, because it's been 3 months and she's like, oh, I really fell for you. But when exactly did she leave? Like, was it directly after the season 6 finale? See what I mean? There are little things during that time skip we don't know about. So we don't, like Hayden said, I don't know if I can trust you. I mean, he was playing for foot, toes. I ain't gonna lie. I would have been doing the same shit. I ain't going front. But what do they say about the memes? Like, don't trust girls with the white toenails. It's like, it's deception. Why is Hayden? Okay, here is my guess. Leland is out of commission. And this is based on the promo. Yes, it's the same actress that portrays Tamara. It's just the hair is different. Okay, Leland's out of commission. They need a new person to step up and be a partner. Andy wants that position, and Hayden wants it too. So Hayden wants to sabotage Andy to get the position. And it looks like a similar situation is happening at the bank, where Paige and Sabrina are going head to head for a new position as well. So this is going to be pretty interesting. Honestly, this episode, first of all, even though Danny wanted to quit therapy, because remember, she was trying to call Krisha. Is it Krisha? She wanted to quit right before she showed up, and she did. Even though the first session didn't go super well, I am proud of Danny for getting through the first therapy session. This episode was the first time I've been invested in Sabrina as a character in years. Also, shout out to Monty. Rich is a far and away better character than Bill from Bruh. Karen likes the project but don't like to complete them. Well, no, actually, She likes a project. She doesn't like when the project isn't complete as quickly as she wants it to. Yes, Leland's going to be the man on the stretcher. Miss Lisa was spitting bars, but to be somewhat devil's advocate, she should have said the same thing to her daughter months ago about lines needed to be drawn, making it clear that, this person's moved on. So I will say that much, but Miss Lisa was spitting facts. And I love the way she did it in love too. And I feel like if they weren't so congested in that vehicle, they would have given each other a hug. With Hayden taking down Andy, it's going to backfire when Fatima finds out he's not partner's material, this all contradicts Andy making partner in season 2. But I guess this is loose continuity because in season 5, she told Gary about moving the chess pieces around with Robin, and that could screw things over because she was on the verge of making partner. So this kind of stuff makes no sense, but whatever. I'm just going to go with the flow. And about how lucky. Can we talk about how lucky Andy is? Because if Leland didn't pass out, he was going directly to like the higher ups to talk about Andy's sleazy ways. So she just lucked out, which is kind of weird that if Leland recovers, how is it going to look if Andy is partner? I mean, if she does make partner, that's going to be her chance to like go above and beyond to show how valuable she is to the company. So even her sleazy ways won't be enough to get the boot. So I don't know. Also, as much as I want to give credit to the writers, which I do, shout out to the cast. They all did a fantastic job with the material. Every single character. They did a great job. Why was Zach calling Gary? I noticed that too. As soon as Fatima told Zach about the FBI stuff, Zach's reaction had me going, why did he say it like that? I'm thinking that off screen, Gary and Zach have had some dealings, and now Zach is freaking out. I'm not going to lie. I didn't catch that. What exactly Leland's position is. I agree, but Tyler Perry didn't give them that much to work with. They had to get rid of a lot to get us here, just to be fair. But yeah, it sucks and it's slow as all those plates, but now they're rolling. Yeah, that's the thing, because I wanted to do a video, but not yet because the season's still young. I wanted to talk with either DeVal or somebody just privately in DMs just to ask a couple of questions, because I wonder, are they still filming it in one take? Or does the scripts just, I think the difference is the writers make such great scripts that the actors don't always have to fill in the blanks with repetitive dialogue or freestyling. So as a result, the scenes just flow a lot better. It doesn't feel like we're stuck in the same place for too long. Yeah, it's like I told everybody, I knew that first episode might be a little rough around the edges, but it's going to pick up. And this episode was great. It was perfect. Let me look at the notes real quick. It not everybody's going to be convinced. Personally, I like the dream sequence because that was the best they could do with that. But hey, it is what it is. And regardless of how you feel about the dream from episode 1, that doesn't take away from how great this episode was. The sneak peek where we had Hayden rolling up on Andy and Fatima. We haven't seen Andy and Hayden make a deal since Hayden was first introduced. Because remember, Hayden was introduced to help Andy get Gary out of jail. And now you have Gary and Hayden kind of, scratching each other's back to avoid getting trouble. Like, I thought Hayden was going to be in trouble because he was the middleman. He was the guy that got Gary and the law firm working together in bed, metaphorically. But since he explained to the FBI about how the dealings were legit, he had no idea about Gary's other activities. He got all scot-free. And it's funny because Gary is acting like everybody owes him, but it's like, nah, bro. I mean, you were the one doing all this backhanded stuff. So now you got caught. And I love when Gary said it was either Andy or one of her exes or something that tried to screw me over. And I'm like, yo, is that a Easter egg to Robin? Because we've been saying for a week now, what if Robin is behind the scenes doing this? Yeah, I know. When Hayden put his arm around Fatima, I was done. That was hilarious. That was one of those scenes where you can tell these actors really know each other. I love it. It was great. This was a solid episode. I hope the momentum continues with the new writers because I was skeptical. Yes, and like I said, that first episode was rough, but it had a big job to do. Give the writers a shot, and it's going to get better. And here we are. I am nervous, though, because this is only the third episode, and they set the bar so damn high. So can the rest of the season measure up? The FBI gave Hayden a pass for now until they do further investigation. You're not wrong. That is very possible. I mean, even if we get like a string of 8 out of 10s, that's fantastic. But I have to give credit where credit is due. This episode was very, very good. Also, I got a lot of other videos I recorded. I just haven't had to edit yet. Sidebar, my nephew, what's the point of school? All they get are 2-hour delays now. And he didn't go to school today. And then tomorrow they got a 2-hour delay. And then it's Friday the next day. Sheesh. So I haven't had time to do as much work as I wanted to. I'm like Rich. It's like my nephew, but Rich has a lot of other nieces and nephews. But it's like you have that one kid you take care of, and it's like it either turns you off to the idea of having kids, or you have experience by taking care of the kids. So it's like, meh. Oh, yeah. Also, kudos to Karen. The one thing I will give Karen credit for is shutting Pam down, even though, to be honest, she should have done that a long time ago. Pam buying all that crap is the reason I didn't know Karen was down that bad. I knew she said she was running out of money, but to actually have the lights cut out right before your grand opening was wild. So yeah, she got all that stuff, sent it back, then cut off Pam's access to the cards. That's something that should have been in order a long time ago, you know? I think Tamara was referring to Fatima. You know, that was the initial plan. Stick by Hayden, distract him, get information. So Mr. Leland has a heart attack. Yep. Karen was really into that delivery. Yeah, Trey. Sorry, I'm checking my notes. I was literally going to bring that up. I have no idea why Shauna, I don't know why Shauna is the building owner. I have no idea how that works because Brian was saying take the check and buy this building. So why is there this Shauna character? Because Karen said, I usually deal with the property manager. So like, what's the hierarchy here? Does she own the building or not? I wanted to deduct like half a point, but I'm not, because I feel like during that time skip where Brian and the contractor traded hands, maybe there's something we don't know about. But I did a video recently where I said the entire what was it? The video I did about Karen being a terrible business owner. I talked about the confusion of the entire ordeal of buying it, because Brian was saying, well, no. If you buy this building, it's the same as if you were staying here at your old building, paying, I guess, the property manager. So I was under the assumption that the check Andy cut that would have paid for the repairs was the same amount to buy the building. But then Karen took out a business loan and used that money to renovate the new building, get all the equipment she needed, and have it set up. So Like I said, I'm trying to make as much sense with the information the show provides, but at the same time, there's conflicting facts from the characters. So again, I was under the impression that Brian was like, hey, the money you would spend fixing up your burnt building, take that money, buy this building because it's the same price and you would own it. And then Karen took out a business loan to renovate the building, put in the equipment, and then be ready for the grand opening. But then we find out last week her money's running low because the business loan is about to run out. Because I said Brian was giving her all sorts of discounts and whatnot, but this new contractor, like Fat Joe, price went up. Yesterday's price is not today's price. So as a result, that may have shifted some of the cost. And that's why that business loan is going down. And that's why she needs a personal loan. But again, why she doesn't own this building is beyond me. Yes, the new salon looks way better. But everybody has to start somewhere. You can tell Gary went from hood scammer to legit embezzler. Pam is more of a friend to Karen than the lady. Y'all are giving the girls crap. I mean, for one, if it's about the whole salon opening, each of the ladies had something to do that morning. Andy got to work and everything was falling apart. Danny had this, well, you could argue Danny could have rescheduled a therapist appointment because she knew today was the grand opening. Sabrina, she kind of has to prove herself at work because she just got rehired. So, yeah. And honestly, I think it really has to do with Pam. Pam really pissed her off. The fact that she screwed up the money and they almost didn't have a grand opening. And that's really Karen's fault for not keeping Pam on a leash. These ladies leave work to drink. I know, but still. Now, well, actually, Pam was looking at it from the perspective of the company's money, not Karen's money. But look at the fact that because of Pam's screw up, Karen had to come out of her own personal money, which is that including the $77,000 that we don't know what she did with? I don't know. Now that Zach didn't show up, Zach is coming after Zach for child support because Pam putting nonsense in her ear, which is, and like I said earlier, like I felt some kind of way about Zach, but you know, the timing was wrong. Like, and not to mention, so why is she in, Karen is like from the Oval. She is a walking contradiction. She literally said in episode 1, I don't want Zach or Fatima up in this salon, but it's okay for you to go over to their house all the time. Now, she didn't want Zach there because Fatima's jealous. Yet look at how jealous you acted when you saw the girls at brunch with Fatima. Honestly, I think it would have been better if Karen never went to the brunch. If we just saw her at the salon and then she was on her phone and saw them post about it online, that would have been, better. Yeah, don't worry. I still don't fully trust Tony, but so far, green flags. Looks like Penelope and Andy work together to take down Andy. Pam doesn't understand business, and if Karen didn't realize that after the tax write-off statement, oh well. Yeah, Pam is an overbearing butt kisser. See, Karen's problem is she doesn't check Pam when necessary. Don't get me started on Fatima being pregnant. Didn't one of y'all tell me that during one of the Twitter spaces, one of the writers said, don't compare the timelines of the shows? I'm not doing it. I might mention something, but I'm not going to, hold it to a perfection like, oh, it has to line up. I would prefer it if they did that, but no. Also, the actor that plays Paige looks familiar. Somebody mentioned on Twitter, I know those facial expressions. I just can't place the actor. Yo, Karen is going to be pissed off. You know, it's funny. Yeah, Karen is mixed personalities, but Zach is the one giving mixed signals. I will do a full video about Zach being, I don't know. I really wish we knew what the dynamic was between Zach and Karen during the 3-month time skip. Because honestly, I think they told her to stop coming with the baby stuff because they don't have custody of Michael. There's so much we don't know. Danny was rude to that therapist. A little. She wasn't as bad as I thought. Don't get me wrong. She wasn't as bad as I thought she was going to be. Hayden is a snitch on Gary, and now he with Tamara. I call that a win. It's like throwing Gary under the bus, but you got a baddie like that in your office. Also, as fine as Tamara was, I would have been like, look, the heat is on right now. I can't really have you in my office like this with the glass walls and all the partners are around. Like, if you want to do a quickie in the car during lunch or something, yeah. I don't know, but that as much as I love the Tamara scene, it kind of messed up the flow because I'm like, yeah, I don't really think that's going to work out. I thought that too. The therapist favored Viola Davis. I have a rental property. You insure it as the owner of the actual structure. Hayden acting like he's friends with Gary, but he turns his back towards him. Well, what would you do if your entire livelihood? I didn't know she was going to be in that movie, May Coppola. Why is Karen mad about the girls being friends with Fatima? Because she's a hater. She's a hater. And like Dan, and I love how Danny did not back down. It's like, look, I called you. You said no. You cussed me out. What you mad about? And like I said, I feel like the girls were only somewhat apologetic because it was Karen's big day. But yeah, she did. Being in her feelings made no sense. Danny's always rude and overly sarcastic. She needs to be written better. Again, I thought she could have been a lot worse. She could have been a lot worse. Karen wants everyone around her, and no one. Thank you. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. I want him here, but I don't want him here. It's like, shut up. Sheesh. Yeah, the day has been frustrating. My computer has been freezing all day because of freaking Windows updates. I had to deal with that crap. I hate when that happens. But yeah, I was able to get a lot of work done. Someone said on Twitter, no, Pam is not the one who stole the credit card. And neither was Gary. Gary's not going to kill Hayden. Those two are going to link up in the next episode. Will Andy get blamed for Leland's heart attack? Nope. Oh, Fatima getting caught up in what's going on in the office. Yeah, that's the sad part about Karen. We were beginning to see a positive change, but then they opted to just turn her into what we see today. I know I would have folded, the moment Tamara had that foot on his chest, and then we saw that leg, and she was rocking my favorite color, blue. I got a weakness for good ankles, so I'm sorry. I would have folded. I don't think Zach really knows how to handle Karen and me. Well, you got to think about it from Zach's perspective. He had 3 years of a toxic on and off again relationship that mainly consisted of pissing Karen off. He never quite mastered how to put her in her place. Well, tell Hayden got a foot fetish. Kind of like Gary sniffing panties. I am not here to kink shame. I don't think anybody's getting fired from the office. But this episode had a great amount of tension in it because I I know from my job at the call center, when they kept changing management, it truly felt like that. Like each day you didn't know if you were going in and getting fired or not. I was one of the best on the floor. I knew I wasn't getting fired, but it's the fact that shit got so crazy that you never knew what kind of rules they were implementing. People were getting fired, people were quitting, people were cussing people out. It was like the wild, wild west up in that call center. And I think we can all relate in some way to the work environments in the show. You can be in a job that's going crazy like the law firm right now, or you have a situation where you have a Hayden at your job or you have a Paige at your job. Because Sabrina, gone are the days where Sabrina could just get away with doing whatever she wanted on the job. Those days are gone because Paige is watching her like a hawk. Zach was wrong for taking Karen. I've never really bought. I bought flowers once. That's when I had the last time I had a girlfriend was in 10th grade. And that was the first and only time I've had a girlfriend on Valentine's Day, and I bought her roses and a bunch of other stuff. So I don't really know exactly. Plus, that was like in 2006 or 7. It is 2024. I don't know if roses have the same meaning now. So I don't know. Yeah, I thought that was kind of petty. Like Zach said, you thought those flowers were good until you found out they were for Karen. And like I said, I wanted to defend Zach, but it's like, you make a good point, but the timing of everything, seriously though, regardless of how we feel about Karen, I think we can all agree, Zach, not the best time to ask for a DNA test. I thought Miss Lisa was going to bring it up because I could have sworn she might have heard, oh, wait, Karen, no, put the gun down. That was funny. But yeah, I'm not docking points, but I do not like how Zach has been written this season. I hate it. Bernie Mac, bro. Oh man, that was some good stuff. I bet Hayden was sitting up in his house like Cat Williams. He had a drink, telling the FBI everything. You know, I need to tell you, Gary doing some shady stuff. He's like, Hayden, I need you to falsify these documents. And I was like, you gotta tell him no. You gotta tell him no. I did. No, you know, he was up there. No, Hayden did what Antonio did in the Oval. He sung like a canary. You gotta tell him no. You ain't gonna mess up my career. No, but I'm like hating people like, yo, Hayden snitching. If the feds rolled up to your door, what would you do? And I mean, you could just say he's snitching, but he told the truth. But like I said, he dirty though because he's really the person most responsible. Say what you want to about Andy, but Hayden was the guy. Hayden was the one that linked up Gary and the law firm together. That was him. He did that. So him not doing his due diligence, or Robin or the other partners, that's on them. And like Hayden said, they're going to look for a scapegoat. He should have had yellow roses. Yeah, that would have been appropriate. Because I think she was wearing a yellow dress. Hayden understands keeping his bar license. You're not wrong. Yeah, blue is my favorite color. So Tamara, wow. Zach giving her flowers would have been okay if they weren't red. Yeah. Why are the partners not looking at Hayden versus Andy? I don't know. Also, if Leland kept bringing up Andy's name during that meeting, why in the hell would anybody consider her to be the next partner? She just must be that good at the job, because I'm just thinking like Leland mentioned her 3 times. So I don't know. Yeah, I would tell on Gary. Robin did tell Andy that the FBI was watching Hayden. I think Hayden was talking and blaming Andy. I don't think so. No, I don't think so. I don't fully trust him, but you never know. And seriously, I mean, if I were Andy and my job is on the line, the entire office is in turmoil, and I go to the salon to be there for my friend, and I get attitude, I'm turning around. Also, kudos to Fatima, because it's kind of, I think the writing did a good job just demonstrating the difference between Fatima and Karen. Fatima thought so much of Karen, like, look, Andy, for the sake of your friendship, you ought to go because you know Karen will never let you hear the end of it. Yet Karen is giving the girls attitude because they invited Fatima out to brunch and they had a good time. Hateful heifer. Did I hear Hayden? Yeah. Hayden wants to bring Andy down because it's clear that in the next episode, the both of them will be going for the partner position. So they had a temporary truce. The writers are trying to put Zach and Karen back together. The baby better not be his. I'm not watching no more. I don't know. Leland said because he already told the other partners about her personal life with Gary. Yeah, that had nothing to do with Hayden. Fatima is not that bad, but Karen always acted like this. It would be perfect when they arrest Gary. Robin be standing. Yeah, I hope Robin is there. I hope Robin is there. Also, I don't know if you've been following like KJ, Novi, the Sistas page. The women look beautiful on their press tour. And it's so great because similar to New Edition, where you have all 5 members plus Bobby, it's everybody. KJ, Novi, Mignon, Crystal, Ebony, all of them are on the press tour, and I love it. I think Hayden told Leland to mess with Robin and Gary. That's why Leland calling Andy sleazy. Remember, though, Robin told Andy that, hey, I did my research and you got a reputation. Nah, I don't think Gary's going to cross Hayden yet. Yeah, they're all so beautiful. They're beautiful, yeah. If these next episodes, yeah, I honestly, and this is just me thinking out loud, I think that we're going to find out who the baby daddy is in this first half of the season. It's only episode 3. I think we're going to find out in the first half of this season. Yeah, Penelope needs to watch out because her life is on the line now. Going to take a life insurance. I knew someone was up the way he was fidgeting with that plate of food. Also, Penelope fine as hell. South Stowers, beautiful. Did Gary ever get a whole? I don't know. No, the person on the stretcher is clearly Leland, the guy who was having a heart attack. Now, Hayden wants to take down Andy. He knows Andy deserves to take Hayden down. Does that mean Leland will be the one? Leland's going to be on the one on the stretcher. Andy and Hayden are going to go head to head for the position of partner. Yeah, that's why I said last week she shows so much emotion in her eyes. I was surprised Miss Lisa didn't bring up Aaron. But yeah, I agree. Zach be doing too much sometimes. Because at some point you got to go, yeah, Karen, she just takes anything and runs with it. But Zach should know better than to give her the ammunition of Zach still loves me because he says or does something to kind of quote unquote trigger her. Yeah, I think honestly, if you pay attention to the little nuances, they're fixing it so Zach won't be the father. Oh man. Zach is weak this season, Michael. I agree, but I think we can also admit he's just acting stupid. Are you talking about Jake? Yeah, that Leland was giving off as many mixed signals as Karen. It's like, so is she sleazy or not? I don't what. Yes, in the promo, Pam needs to shut up. I think Danny might tell Zach and Fatima about the plan. Karen is back to her old self. The premiere could have been okay. Yeah, look, I don't want to talk about the dream thing anymore. Tamara's coming back for her, and Hayden won't be together long. Zach called Gary because of the money he got from the senator's wife at the hotel. I don't know. I can't wait for when Gary finds out about Hayden and Tamara messing around. Karen, yeah, she's always bitter. Yeah, I mean, can she use that excuse that she's that much of an asset? Who knows? Tell Zach and Fatima about the child support. Do you have that trailer for next week? Yeah, I've already watched it at the beginning of the live stream. Yeah, I'm glad Miss Lisa stepped in. But like I said, she needs to check her. She needed to check her daughter a long time ago. That's all I'm saying. Like what she told Zach was right. Is Hayden still trying to get revenge on Fatima? I don't know. I really wish I knew how that story closed up during the time jump. Because he was out to get everybody, but then it just like, wait, him and Andy are talking like regular people? What's going on? Okay. Oh, damn. People. Yeah, if you're watching, hit the thumbs up button. We haven't even hit 100 likes yet. But yeah, if you're just tuning in, I give this episode a 10 out of 10. Perfect score. Thought it was fantastic. And I'm just checking online to see if I missed anything. If Andy had helped Robin, Gary would have never been associated with the firm. Yep. So every man that comes around Karen, they all want her. I don't know what the ratings were for last week yet. I wish I knew. Do the hustle. Yeah, I was. I think he might. Oh, I was watching My Wife and Kids last night. It was the prom episode where it's like Claire going to prom with a senior, but then Jay and Michael go and then they take over the entire event. I don't like time skips, how they play catch up. As someone who's into comic books and manga, time skips don't bother me. It only bothers me when key character personas or plot points happen or shift and they never address it. No, my favorite episode is the foosball table. Booyah shaka. But then the Bobby Shaw episode, the triple bye birdie, that's one of my favorites too. That's impossible. Why is it that these men want pregnant Karen and not hot Pam? I'm sorry, but I have to agree with that. Like, I guess pregnant women get off of radiation or something like that because they're glowing. But it's like, if she's pregnant, number one, she clearly comes with baggage. And number two, there's a baby daddy involved. How do you know she's not married or something? Sure, she doesn't have a ring, but still. I might just be pregnancy glow, but I don't blame them. Yeah, she does look great, especially when she's smiling. And don't get me wrong, I think it's the aloofness of it all. Pam just seems way too thirsty, but she did look fine in that denim jumpsuit she was wearing the last episode. Is Zach still trying to ask Karen about Karen Jr.? He didn't mention that. No, I thought that was going to be brought up. Whew. I don't know. I don't know. They done changed the lore so much about Andy's position at work. I don't even know. I wonder why they only show Miss Lisa talking to. I was thinking the same thing. Like, wouldn't Miss Lisa be in the shop with her daughter congratulating her? It just feels weird to have Miss Lisa in the episode, but not see her with her daughter. But again, Andy left in the middle of the opening, so it's possible we might get some more. Yeah, we're going to get more scenes in the shop next week, so maybe we'll hear from her then. Crockpot. I like that. I'm mad that Karen let Pam run up her business account, but put Zach in jail and it wasn't his fault. Ooh, I like that. Jeremy, you just always like Karen, Pam. I've never said Ebony was not attractive. It's just the character of Karen has moments where I'm like, Aaron, you're beautiful, but your mouth is just saying the most nasty, ugly things. Yeah, if you can't hear me, leave, come back. Over the past several weeks, people said that has been key to fixing audio. Yeah, I saw the promo for next week. I saw it at the beginning of this live stream. I wholeheartedly agree. If you are determined to have kids and your partner isn't, or vice versa, end it right there. Even though it's going to hurt. I mean, you are just wasting time because you're hoping you can change the other person's mind. However, Rich did make a good point. I could say I don't want kids, but if I love you enough, you might change my mind. But the thing is, Rich has already been married and he's divorced, and he says he doesn't want to be married again. But yeah, if you know in your heart you want kids or you don't want kids, and then your partner wants the opposite, just let it go. Yeah, he's probably going to try to off Penelope for the money. Sabrina just met. No, they've known each other for 3 months. Sabrina and Danny work all month. I did not mind Sabrina at all this episode. That's the crazy part, because usually it's the women in this show who are with the men and don't know what they want. But now it's like, no, you're with a man who knows what he wants, but it's not the same thing you want. Now the question is, what are you going to do? Yeah, Joan and Brock had a painful breakup because he didn't want kids. I remember when she bought that house and then he was mad because it was a hunk of junk because she hit the button. Looks like Tony might want to get Danny pregnant. Yeah, I noticed that too. The condom on the table. Yeah, no Maurice. That could be a reason why the episode was a 10 out of 10. I see Fatima leaving Zach. Yeah, I mean, for once, I got to sit up here like, Zach, man, I want to defend you, but you ain't giving me nothing to work with. I ain't got nothing, man. I ain't got nothing. No chemistry between Tony and Danny. Meh. I think it's more chemistry between Tony and Danny than New Jordan and Andy. I think we see the Penelope watching Gary in the next episode. And Tony, I don't like him at all. If his only purpose is to help Danny reach a new level of self-awareness and self-love, I'm here for it. It's not even what Maurice represents as a character. It's that's the only purpose of his character. Oh, the overly flamboyant black man. No, he had potential. Season 1, he was a great character. Kind of like Tiffany Haddish at the beginning of her career. She was a great character actor when she had small roles, but when you get her in the spotlight, it's like bring it down. Yeah, Penelope might go into hiding or witness protection. Fatima seems to always reject Zach's affection. She never initiated affection towards him, I noticed. Good observation. Yeah, Tony did not have the best introduction. Hi, I listened to your phone calls. Thanks, radio show. Do you think Andy or Hayden will lose their job? No. Andy might be in trouble if Leland recovers and speaks up. I don't know. Yeah, I heard Magnum PI. Somebody sent me a screenshot of that. Hayden up to his old ways. None of these forced relationships between. Yeah, I wouldn't have minded an era of the sisters just being single. I mean, Karen being single, but then also all the other girls being single. Yeah, more often than not, Tyler Perry actors show more talent in non-Tyler Perry things. But I've noticed that with the new writers, the actors, there's just like a new level of quality, not just in the dialogue, but the performance as well. Yeah, I agree. Gary probably runs some of Zach's investments. Somebody going to teach Gary and Hayden a lesson? No. On screen, he did no business with Gary, but during that time skip, you never know. Yeah, it's starting to feel like a soap opera because a lot of these writers worked on soap operas and it shows. Yeah, I think these writers are bringing the best out of the actors. I feel like these writers are coming up with scripts that come off the page as opposed to just writing scripts to fill up a runtime. Reminds me of Medea Witness Protection or movie Get Hard. Yeah, the Will Ferrell Kevin Hart movie. Sisters was always a soap, but look at who was writing it. Oh yeah, Ruthless comes back February 1st, and yes, I will review it, even though I wish it didn't come on while Sisters in the Oval were on, because that's going to be a big day. 3 episodes? Yeah, Monty, the guy who plays Rich, you can tell he was given a lot better material because I could not stand Bill on Bruh. Sheesh. Sunshine. The scenes with Tamara and Hayden look like a soap opera scene. Yep. The new lady at the bank. Yeah, Paige. Honestly, I wouldn't mind if the Oval ended with season 5 because it's so good now. I'm like, you know what? End it when it's good. Or at the very least, you could have a season 6, but make it like only 12 episodes and use it to finish up Ruthless as well. Like, don't get me wrong, I'll start to review Ruthless, but if the views aren't there, then I want to stop. But I don't know. Plus, none of those shows compare to Sisters and Zatima in terms of views. Yes, I did see the TikTok that somebody took of the filming from the Medea Destination Wedding movie where Medea's getting like her car stolen at a gas station, and Brown and Cora are there too. Yeah, you're not wrong. She's playing house with Tony, but didn't want to with Preston. I ain't gonna lie, Danny cleaning her house surprised me as much as Andy cooking in the first episode. What do you want, sisters? A good show. I don't know. The guy was flirting with Karen, and Karen was flirting back. Is Paige at the bank to keep an eye on Sabrina? I don't know. Sabrina definitely going to fight Paige that season. This season, I love that. All the Queen's men start out strong. I don't review it, so I wouldn't know. I mean, season 1 did, but then the Tyler Perry episodes, I'm like, I could tell these are Tyler Perry episodes. The bank manager annoying. I've never watched Who's Worse at the Bank, the white lady or Maurice. To be honest, I would have to say Maurice. You could say what you want to about Paige being an overbearing employee, but at least she does her job. She just makes sure everybody else. Part of me wants Maurice at the bank just to have him and Paige go head to head. I feel like they're writing Gary's character to a corner by trying to redeem Hayden. I feel like Simone was going to say too much on the Oval. Yo, Simone, as much as I love her, I blame Priscilla because you cannot tell Simone about the affair and then expect her to act cool. Seriously, I don't know what she was thinking. Yeah, if you haven't started Ruthless, I wouldn't recommend it. Um Earlier in the live stream, I tried my best to explain Karen's lack of ownership in the salon, and I also did a video on it about a week ago talking about Karen is a terrible business owner. I'm sorry, I don't feel like going through it again, but long story short, Brian said pay for the building and you own it. But now all of a sudden she's not the owner. I have no idea why that's the case. And I'm guessing that the check was used to buy the building. She took out a business loan to refurbish it. but for some reason, money didn't work out the way it was supposed to. So I could not tell you why she doesn't own the building. That's like the shortened version of it. Yeah, you're right. You're right. She better not run her mouth like she usually does, talking about somebody's personal business accounts, at least on the clock. Okay, I'm watching the episode again on mute, and Tamara, hot damn, got the hair. I feel like Cosby. Got the hair, you got the dress, she got the body, she got the foot. I ain't gonna lie, foot dude. I ain't gonna. Hi, everybody. Good morning. Oh, hey, Carolyn, what's up? What's Madam going to do next? I don't know. I wish they would at least bring Robin back. I'm going to say this much. I didn't know Tamara was coming back in this episode. I knew Miss Lisa was coming back, but I didn't know she was coming until they showed a preview for this episode. So I will say this. Lord, have mercy. The Lord is my shepherd. He know what I want. No, I think this season is going to be full of surprises because there's just so much going down that even I know a lot about season 7, but there's so much happening that even I'm being caught off guard. And that's a key for keeping me invested. Yeah, Leland, the guy who is having a heart attack, is no doubt the man who's on the stretcher. Salute one more time. What? I watch Sistas on BET, or technically YouTube TV. I watch it live there because I'm in my room and I gotta tweet and everything and take notes. Dang, we're over an hour. Sabrina is professional, but the problem is I feel like she spends way too much time babysitting Maurice. And as a result, I don't know if I'll go live on Instagram tonight. Yeah, you would think Miss Lisa would be right there with her daughter. She puts Andy in the running for partner. Yeah, that's the thing. It makes no sense. Maybe because Andy helped him out as he was dying in front of her. Robin got to come back. He's got to have the last laugh. Honestly, we got snow, but it didn't even stick to the ground. But it's been like less than 20 degrees. So schools have either been delayed or closed because I know one day the damn school's like heating system and all wasn't working. But like I said, I think Miss Lisa's probably going to be in the next episode. School closed. Yeah, my favorite season is season 3. I'm happy Aaron isn't on this season. I don't know. He might show up. Beats me. I've been hearing some things. No, seriously, the way the camera panned over to Tamara, damn. So is Tamara and that boy back? I don't know. I thought I was going to be Robin and not Tamara. That would have been wild if it was Robin. I may have missed this. I thought Karen bought the building. Yeah, I don't know. It makes no sense. I thought she bought it, but I guess things didn't exactly work out that way for some reason. Beats me. Okay, I'll take a few more comments and I'll wrap it up. I might go to sleep a bit early. That way, well, no, nephew has a 2-hour delay tomorrow, so I won't be able to record super early, but I don't need to. I got other videos I can edit in the meantime. I think Lisa was a bit wrong on what Zach was doing. Bit much. Yeah, I see both sides, but when I really analyze it, I think Zach was doing too much. Stream is messing up. That's my cue to leave. Okay, well, thanks so much for tuning in. We had a good run tonight, over an hour. Perfect episode. Good stuff. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you next time.